Super nervous.
We are family. I got all my sisters with me. We are family. Get up, everybody, and sing. Everyone can see we're together as we walk on by. And we fly just like birds of a feather. I want you to know.
Hey, I like that so much. We're gonna do it one more time. Just one more time. One more time. That song.
We are family. I got all my sisters with me. We are family. Get up, everybody, and sing. Everyone can see we're together as we walk on by. And we fly just like birds of a feather. I want you to know.
I love that song. I love it. And this is about family, this show. And welcome back to Quick Shots. I'm your host, Mick Chambers. If you're in the comments section, please say hi and let Chip and Reagan know that you're here. Hi, Chip and Reagan. How you doing?
Hey, Mick.
Guys, this is fun. This is fun for me. And, I was just saying before we got started, Reagan's kind of the same age as my daughter. And then I reminded Chip that I'm like 8 years younger than him. Then he reminded me that he's 4 years younger than me. So I don't know how that math works out, but all right, that's how we do it in Idaho, I guess. Hey guys, how have you been since, the big event, Vegas? What have you been up to?
I've been just at school trying to get caught up with school because I missed a couple days going to Vegas. And then the week afterwards, I was just kind of like, whoa, life needs to go back to normal. So like now I'm kind of getting back on track with life.
Oh, that's good. That's good. And what do you do for school?
I'm a machinist, or I'm in machining school, and in the last year of school. And so I'll graduate with my associates in May and be out in the real world.
She's doing the CNC stuff now.
Yeah. CNC.
That's awesome. So do you need to know how to code or anything like that for using the CNC machine?
You got to learn a whole new language, basically, G code, and you got to figure out how the machine talks so you can talk to it.
That's so cool. And I think that you're doing the right thing. You're getting out of school quick, no debt or little debt, and then just boom, get into a trade that people need you.
Yes.
Need you. That is awesome, man. Congratulations. Good job there.
Make stuff.
I know. Can you make me, so I guess the question we're going to get asked is like, what are the cool Barebow weights that you're going to be making everyone?
Oh goodness. I've made normal looking ones so far. Just my first year, I made normal looking ones for my grandpa.
Internal weights for a Gilo.
Yeah, but now that I know how to use CNC machines, the possibilities are endless. As long as it's a little ring, I'll make it.
That is so cool. Your dad's going to be hitting you up for a ton of stuff, man. That's awesome. Chip, what about you, man? Are you down from the high yet? Or was there a high? Are you a type of guy that gets really excited about, man, that was awesome. I just took home Vegas. They call that the Super Bowl of archery.
It was exciting. I did not anticipate. I guess I didn't know what to expect. I had a camera in my face all of a sudden as soon as I turned around. It was actually kind of funny. John Winker was kind of guiding me around from camera to camera because I didn't know what was going on. So I didn't know the etiquette, evidently, but he took me under his wing.
That's great. He's like your publicist. That's awesome. That's awesome. Hey, thanks everyone that's in the comments and saying hi and stuff like that. I do want to read a few people's names. So Raymond is here, winner of Lancaster this year. Hey, Ray. Hector Leon, you were there in Vegas too, I believe. And Ray says, I think Chip, let me see what he says here. Let's put that up. I think Chip shoots with his daughter, so they let him into the range. Okay.
Oh. Probably.
That's probably right. Okay.
Reggie who?
Reggie. I know. He's coming on the show. I think it's 2 weeks away or something like that. But I'm going to try and avoid not calling him Reggie. I'm not going to do that. That's low hanging fruit. Not going to do it. Ray Mund, get on the show. Russ. Hey, Russ from Kuna. how do you say that?
Funa. Yeah, he's one of the crew that we have up here. He's actually the first of the Idahoans that I taught to
Converted.
shoot barebow.
Brought
Yeah.
to the dark side.
Mhm.
That's awesome. So he was he a compounder before you met him?
Yeah.
Yeah. When I came up here and after retiring in 2018, there weren't any barebow. There was few, there was some trad shooters,
Yeah.
but nobody that shot what I was shooting. And then he kind of hopped on board, and so much that he sold off every single piece of compound equipment that he had, releases, and
Dedication.
everything. Yeah, so he was all in, and then it just kind of progressed to where I think we typically it's ebbed and flowed, but we typically have anywhere from 8 to 10 local barebow archers, and
That's
Okay.
awesome.
Small army.
yeah,
Wayne Forey says great family support for archery. Hi Chip from Sioux Toes. Kenneth,
yeah.
is that how you say it? Is it
Aunt Sue, yeah, Sue Twos.
twos. Okay, twos. Kenneth Hogue, who's right here in Kansas. Hey Ken. Mary, hi. Hi
My
Chip
best.
and Ray.
Yeah, she's part of our group too. Although her husband drug her away to a different city, so we don't get to see him that often. But we
Oh no.
still chat. Yeah.
Oh no. Santo, hi guys. Russ, Reagan's birthday was yesterday. Happy birthday, Reagan. Happy birthday. It was your birthday yesterday. And then happy Valentine's Day to everyone. Belated Valentine's Day to everyone. You're 22. 22 years old.
And single for all the ethical young men out there.
Good kids. Good kids. You need, yeah. Hey, you know what? I've been trying to do that. Get my daughter married off first. Let me work. It's my show. Okay. I get my daughter married off first. Then you can have, although Reagan, my daughter's going to get out of school with $100,000 in debt. You're going to be working right away. Yeah. That's awesome. Melanie Marshall here. Hi, Melanie. There's Raymond. Reagan
Nice.
is multi-talented. Ask about my daughter's teddy bear. What did you do for Raymond?
So I've crocheted since before I can even remember, probably 7, 8 years old. I've crocheted, and so I make little stuffed animals, and I have an Etsy store. It's Ray of Light Crafts, REA, and I made his daughter a little teddy bear, and it's in overalls, and it's super super cute. And he bought it for me, and I gave it to him at Vegas.
So I got to put a plug in for her. So she paid for her. Of course, she's in school and everything. She works,
I'm
but
broke.
yeah, broke. Yeah. But she paid for her trip to Vegas by crocheting and selling archery headbands and archery beanies and release bags. She had these
Little
little
release
fuzzy
pouches.
monster release bags,
Really?
and then all that stuff. Yeah, so
That's
she
how I
paid.
paid for
She
Vegas.
paid for Vegas that way, and she brought it there, and she was selling the stuff at Vegas.
That's
So,
great.
entrepreneur. Yeah.
That's amazing. I'm so impressed. Why did we have your dad on the show? I forget now. Why is he here?
He's the only one.
What? Oh yeah, that's right. I keep forgetting. And we will talk about it for a second. It's okay to take a little bit of the limelight. Mike Holson and Karen are here. Love you guys. Marcel, you finally got real guests. He was just on the show. Marcel, you're doing a great job taking pictures. But
Photography is awesome.
yeah, but I told him, I said, you got to get to Vegas to take pictures, right? And so he needs to get out there and take some pictures. But he's also got to focus on his shooting because he's been doing really well on shooting as well. Neil, love Neil. Cheers. Hey, help me with your last name. Heffelfingers.
Heffelfinger.
You do realize that does sound a little bit like a school at Hogwarts, right?
Yes.
It sounds like a.
I only got called Hufflepuff growing up.
Yeah, I don't think ever. But that is a cool name. Where's that from?
It's Swiss. It's Swiss. It's
Really?
German, but I mean, it's from actually. There's a small town in Switzerland.
And I think lots of people saying good stuff. I'm going to get comments were exploding. Josh Miller's here. He says, "Sup guys?" Neil's like, "Love my little mushroom head archery guy. Will be in my quiver forever." Mary's like, "I have one of her hats, which are now steals. Her stuff is so good." but I'm going to return some of it because it doesn't fit anymore and it fades in the wash. What?
What?
No, I'm kidding. I made that I made that up. I made that part up. I was just kidding. Hope you're feeling well, Josh. Okay, Josh, finally wake up. Okay. Oh, okay. So Josh not feeling good. Get better soon, Josh. All right, let's get back to the show, man. I'm wasting too much time. All right, origin story, just like Marvel Comics. Let's go. So first, Chip, tell us how you get started in archery.
My dad actually. So he's 81, and I'm 50. But he started shooting archery the year before I was born. So 72, he started shooting, and I had a Black Widow recurve back then, and he did it as a way to increase his hunting. And so when I was young, I remember shooting a little fiberglass bow, something along those lines. And then when I was 9, I was really interested in shooting, spending time with him because he and I are very close. And he shot in leagues. And so he got me a Proline Force 2 Magnum compound. And I shot it with fingers and pins when I was 9, and with the intention on deer hunting. And so I had to work up to the weight. That was a skinny little bean back there. I was tall, but I was skinny.
Yeah.
And so I had to work. I remember pulling that bow at night, just pulling, trying to build up muscles so I could pull 40 pounds in Arizona where I grew up, just so I could go hunting. And so then within a year or so, I pulled the sight off and I wanted to shoot instinctive. Dad shot with pins, and I was always drawn to shooting barebow or instinctive. And so I did for several years at the compound, and then pulled out his old Black Widow out of the bedroom and asked if I could shoot it in the backyard. And I was shooting in the backyard when a neighbor behind us saw me shooting. He says, "Hey, I got something for you." And he handed me a Bear Kodiak Hunter, 45-pound Kodiak Hunter over the fence. And it had some old silver aluminum arrows. It was old Easton stuff. Some Bear razor heads, and there was still some dried blood on them. And so then I shot traditional for many years. Other things I would dabble in there, but I shot traditional for probably 25 years, and different bows, different recurves and stuff. And I also shot some compound in there. And so Dad and I would go to, he primarily would go to Vegas back in the 80s, back when it was in the Tropicana. And I tagged along and wanted to shoot. And so I was in my high school years, and I shot in the Tropicana. So that would have been the late 80s. And then I graduated and I went to a community college, and they had a archery team. And you could get a partial scholarship. They paid for your books and stuff. Yeah. And so I shot on the archery team, and I was one of our better archers. We'll just put it that way. And I shot with Olympic recurve. I got a blemished Hoyt gold medalist from Ann Hoyt.
Yeah.
She sold it to the school, and I got it. And so that's what I shot, that in a check-it sight. And I shot against ASU, Arizona State University down there. I was at the Glendale Community College, and I did well. And they wanted to talk to me potentially about going there the following year. And my dad was excited, and I joined the Navy.
Oh, no. What year did you join the Navy?
I joined 92, but I shipped out to boot camp in January 93.
Yeah. Well, we were kind of in at the same time, around that same time, early 90s. What made you decide you wanted to go to
the Navy?
Yeah. Like enlist, period.
Yeah. My dad was in the Navy. And as I said, he and I are very close, and I saw it as an opportunity to serve my nation. I'm very duty bound, as later on I became a cop. But I did that, and I shot traditional for the most part during when I was in the Navy, and built a bow with my dad out of a kit. And then when I got out of the Navy, I continued to shoot shoot traditional primarily, but then probably 2002-ish, somewhere in that area, about time she was born, I started getting back into the Olympic recurve style, and we went back to Vegas. And so I shot some Olympic recurve back then, and I shot for represented the was going to represent the state of Arizona for a little tournament type thing that we had, and I did as in the traditional thing where it was California, Arizona, and Baja California, so Mexico, and we went over to California, over to San Diego, and we shot. And I was the traditional shooter. I didn't shoot Olympic then. I was a traditional representative, and then we had a compound shooter, and we had a open, and then a bow hunter. And so the three of us competed against like members of the other country and states, and we won. So that was pretty cool.
Nice.
Yeah, and so, but then I got back into the Olympic recurve with Dad, and he shot that since I was in college. He didn't go away from it. So did some competing there. Went to Vegas, and then in 2016 timeframe, I just felt that I wanted to shoot barebow, and so I stripped the sight off my Sky Conquest, and taught myself how to string walk and a little bit of online stuff. So it was more primitive as far as what was available back then.
Well, you've come a long way. I mean, to shoot to win, one of the top tournaments in the country, internationally, even at the Vegas for barebow, right? I mean, that's pretty impressive. And you did it not at a tournament that wasn't full of amazing barebow shooters. Like there were AAA shooters at that event. You had both of this year's Lancaster champion. You had last year's Lancaster archery champion. I want to say you had.
I was the previous one.
Yeah, there you go. So I mean, you're kicking butt. I mean, have you done this all on your own?
For the most part. So as I said, there's some resources that were online, and I'd get a little bit of feedback from like Frank Madano and John Demmer, just kind of bouncing some questions off of them and stuff. But for the most part, it was using my Olympic recurve format and training and techniques, and just kind of converting it over. And then my dad had always bounced stuff off of him. And back when I lived in Arizona before moving up here, we shot together all the time. And video is a big thing. You got a video. It's because you might think that you're shooting a certain way, but you can see as soon as you get on the video whether your back is in alignment, or if your release is flying off the side of your face, or if you're dropping your bow or peeking and stuff like that. So using those kind of techniques is what I do. And
yeah, video doesn't lie. Video doesn't lie, except for my camera, it adds 10 pounds. But
me too.
Reagan, though, did you? I mean, sorry, I don't want to interrupt, but how did you get involved?
Oh, I was born into this. He kind of just, before I could even really spell my name or say my last name, I had a bow in my hand. There's pictures of me like really, really, really little, and I'm shooting, and I look so determined, like a little 2-year-old, and I'm so determined. I just remember tagging along. He'd take me to like 3D shoots as a little 4-year-old, and I'd say I wanted to shoot the butt of the animal. That was my thing, is I'm going to shoot the butt. I don't actually care about vitals. I just wanted to shoot the butt. So I'd always just tag along with my dad. I've always kind of been his mini-me. I look just like him.
Unfortunately.
And so I always just kind of tagged along if he was fixing cars or if he was playing with bows. I was kind of always there. So he's kind of helped the love of archery for me by buying me bows and being my coach and helping me. I haven't really had to go to anybody except him and my grandpa. And so I've shot compounds. I've shot barebow for how many years now? Two 2 years,
Probably going on 3.
3 years. But I shot compound all before. He had actually bought me a brand new PSE compound right before I decided to be a barebow archer. New strings, new bow, new everything, and I was like, nah, I don't want it. I'm gonna go to that thing, the bow that's older than me. But yeah, I just
That's super nice. I mean, that is one. You guys are incredibly lucky to have such a tight family. That you have your father Chip, and your grandfather Reagan. That he's kind of this guiding light, right? And then your dad Reagan is, you see him being accomplished, and it's kind of nice. But it is honestly, tell me if it is or not. Is it a little bit? I don't know how to say this, but is it a little bit not intimidating, but is it a little bit, does it make you want to do better because he's been so successful?
it makes me kind of proud when I walk around and have Heffelfinger on my back for my shooting jersey. I feel proud because I know that a Heffelfinger won. Like he's in first. He's super humble and he won't brag about it. He won't boast about himself, but he's my dad, and I think it's the coolest thing in the world.
All right, that's enough for my
All right, man. I'm gonna get it's getting hot in here. I don't know what's going on.
allergies are kicking up here.
I don't know what's going on. Can you settle down?
It's not intimidating. It's just I'm proud of him, and I hope that one day I get to be as cool as he, even just as half as cool as he is, would be kind of cool.
Well, I'm sure you're gonna do fine. I think you're gonna do just fine.
I'm going to talk about her a little bit. If that's okay.
Yeah, no, that's. But let me wax poetic a little bit on this. I just want to point out that you were in the second flight, halfway down the second flight. Yes, but still in the second flight at Vegas, and there was a lot of great female archers below you, great male archers below you. You did a phenomenal job. If I were your dad, I'd be super proud. I'm not even your dad. I'm super proud. So, congratulations on such a great job at Vegas.
Thank you.
You're welcome. You did it. I didn't do anything. I'm just saying thank you for being so good.
Personal best at Vegas this year for a tournament. We all tried to get close to our average, but my silence
makes him scary.
But anyway, she did. She shot a personal best on day 3 for a tournament, and I think her total from this year compared to last year was over 40 points total increase. So, and the scores were a lot closer, a lot more consistent. So she put in the hard work this year. She was with me on the leagues, and then part of my training that I did for her and then some of our friends, trying to help them to prepare. She did it. She put the time in, and you could see the results from it. So she did great. And then in December, she actually got second place in a head-to-head competition over there at Archery World in Lacey, Washington.
First ever head-to-head. That was.
It was televised again, and that's a great event.
Is it online? Is it online? Can I see it online? Oh yeah, you guys send me the link, man. I'd love to see that. I'd love to watch it.
There's so you shoot the first day, and I shot with Joel Turner the first day, and then the next day it's set up like Vegas, or excuse me, like a Lancaster. It's the same kind of format as that. 11 are your X's, and then you go kind of in brackets the next day, and then you're head to head. And then they televise it and they interview you just like Lancaster. So it's great preparation for Lancaster, but it's something that I would love to get the word out even more, because there was 30 male barebow archers and 19 females. I mean, that's 50 people practically.
That's a lot. So where's this at again? Where? Washington?
Yeah, so it's Archery World. They actually have 3 shops, but they were holding it at Lacey, Washington. So shout out to Megan and Joe, by the way.
There you go.
I know they're really trying to grow that tournament.
We can promote it. They can have them reach out to me, and I'll start talking about it here and before the event happens, and we'll.
Great people, and then they have we had some bigger names. We did have some bigger names over there. As I said, Joel, I was there. Gene Hildebrand was there. Some of the guys that are in the championship division for Vegas, they were shooting. So,
and it's on the west side, right? So we don't always get a lot of people from the west.
It's over by Olympia.
Yeah, yeah. Matt, Matt's on his wife's account. He says Chip is the man. I'm pretty sure Matt's on his wife's account. I'm gonna guess.
Nah, he's a good dude. Got to meet him last year for the first time, and this year got to.
Met him this year.
I think great. Isn't Barebow great? Isn't there a lot of great people?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, I mean, sometimes when you when you get into those tournaments, you hear all the screaming and stuff. You think we're the cousin Eddie of the Archer family, but
I kind of like that.
but we're the fun ones. We really are. Hey, Fawn.
Hi, Fawn Gerard's here. Just I'll take a little bit of time out since Fawn is on. We are just I I'm going to single string boot camp this year. And there will be a link on my page. So if you follow me anywhere, just you'll be able to see the how to sign up for that. It is amazing. There's a lot of great people going this year. It is going to be so much fun. I don't know. Are you guys going? Chip, are you going?
No, I'm not scheduled to. We have a friend, Mary Rand. She went last year, and she thought it was very worthwhile. And I'm not certain if she's going to go again or not because of their schedule, but she had very good words to say about it.
Sometimes the schedule. I think if we could figure out the schedule, it's really tough because there's so many things going on and we want to get it in at a certain place, but the boot camp is amazing. It has amazing people. So if you're listening or watching, or you see this later on, you'll see a link to it and then you can go sign up for it. $125. And you get like 2 days of like nonstop awesome. And I always encourage people to get as much training as they possibly can. They just feel better. And also you get to, I think, Chip, maybe you can help me out on this, but when you rub elbows with, some of the better players, it takes away some of that. Like, the first time I shot with you, if I were to shoot up against you, I would be shaking like a leaf. But the more I get to know you and see you and shoot with you, the less I feel that way. And it kind of makes you feel comfortable. Anyway, that's why I love that boot camp. It's amazing. Anyway, enough about that.
We keep talking about it. I think that it is very important. There's so many of us that are shooting now, and not everybody has a mentor. They really don't. And so when I go to a shoot, I might run into Neil or somebody that lives in another state. Dean Conrad, he's a friend from Iowa. But when I talk to him on the phone or I'll text with them and kind of try to give some pointers, but when you see them, they can shoot and you just pick out a few little things. Hey, you're in the middle of the tournament. Don't make these changes, but this is, you come to me. This is what I see. Yeah. At the boot camp, you got one-on-one. It's not just for a few minutes. So
it's pretty amazing. The other thing too is they teach you tuning and all this other stuff that if you don't know, it's great to go to. All right, so Matt's asking, what's about this arrow puller? What's going on here? What
arrow puller? He's a smart aleck is what he is.
I know he said it twice, so I know there's something up.
All right, she's getting it here. So Matt and I are shooting together on the last day on the same butt, and everybody's got new gear there except for the old dude here. They're all 15 years younger than me and stuff, and they're shooting all this whiz bang new stuff. And my riser's 30 years old.
Mine's older than me.
Yeah, and my gear I call my yard sale bow because every single thing on there I got used.
Yep.
So my riser I got an 04 that I got from my dad. That I traded a riser for, and it was used then. It's made in the early 90s. It's a Sky Conquest. My Hoyt Velos XL limbs. I bought those used a couple years, 2 years ago, I think, maybe last year. My rest I got from a friend up in Washington. The rest and the plunger is used. My string that I made, I got from material that I got from my friend. So I never bought that. So everything is used, right?
Yeah.
Well, then he notices something hanging from my quiver, which he said, "What is that?" It's an arrow puller. He said, "What, 1972?" So that's the whole joke behind him and my old arrow. It works great, but it's not a high speed, low drag with Velcro and ballistic nylon.
No, it's certainly not pretty. It's funny. Hey Lisa, and says hi to you too. Lisa was at Vegas with you guys. There is something on here. There is something in the comments that I don't know. I'm gonna put it up here.
Oh, there's the allergies again.
Yeah, I just get I get a little. I'm sorry, I just get a little bit upset about stuff like this. And
Yeah.
anyway,
Wayne's a dear friend. He's in our club, and his wife had some struggles with cancer this past year, and so um, we believe in our Lord Jesus Christ and the power of prayer, and also being hands and feet. And so, if there's a
yeah.
need, to try to meet it, and that's that's part of that story. So,
All right, I thank you very much. I sorry, I apologize. Stuff like that gets to me. It's personal and it's stuff that I appreciate when people do the extra mile. Um, anyway, I'll get through this. Sorry, it's embarrassing.
no, that's you know what, brother, that's
Anyway,
life. So,
okay. Fawn says she's always here. Oh my God, I look like an idiot. Sorry about that, guys. Sorry.
how about them Cubs?
Anyway,
No.
sorry, I look like an idiot.
Barebow, Barebow.
Okay, sorry. I'll take that off. Anyway, Fawn, I'm always here, and then many more are. That's exactly right. When you get going with Barebow, you can always reach out to these people. Like there's so many great people that just say, hey, text me and get back to me. So I think that's amazing. Yeah, Chip making people cry. Yeah, I mean, I apologize everyone that's watching it. It's kind of silly, but anywho, let's talk a little bit about equipment. So you talked a little bit about your equipment. Well, Reagan, let's talk about what you've got going on, and then Chip, I'm going to come back to you and then tell us your whole rundown with your arrows and everything. So Reagan, why don't you go first?
I shoot a White Avalon Plus. It's from like 1994,
95, 96 time frame.
somewhere around there. And there's actually less than 100 of them in existence in that colorway, which is really cool.
That we just found out
Yeah.
about in Vegas.
So I had people in Vegas trying to trade me their brand new Hoyt bows for mine, and I was like, I'll pass. But then I have how do you say it? Nika limbs,
C1.
C1 limbs, Figarelli plunger, AAE rest. My dad made my string. My
Nice.
grandpa made my weights.
Nice.
I have a Yoast tab.
Yeah, that one of our sponsors, love Yoast, great people. Great people. And so what kind of arrows are you shooting?
Skylon.
900. They're micros.
Got that clutching.
And she's pulling, I think they're 24-pound limbs. And
I'm a stick.
but she's shooting the 900 spines, and they fly well with some bat wings on them, but they're probably
They look cool.
4 inches long.
That's what I was gonna. I did notice that you had bat wings on your. You just like that the aesthetic, or do you think they work better?
I mean, I pretty much what I'm shooting is whatever the heck he bought me. So he bought me bat wings for Christmas, I think, and I was like, "Those are the coolest things ever!" And so he stuck them on my arrows, and they fly great. Like they fly wonderful.
Yeah, they're unique. They're flashy. They do a great job, and I think they were probably on sale.
I think that's what you need. I think you need, that's the best way. I mean, get stuff that's on sale. If you don't like it, then you haven't spent too much. Chip, let's get onto your gear. You are, I'm super interested in this. So your yard sale bow, is that the one that you had at Vegas?
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Let's talk a little bit about it. There you go.
Yeah, you can grab it that one. So it is a Sky Conquest, and Sky Archery was actually Earl Hoyt Jr.
Yeah.
Same guy as Hoyt, right? And so this is it here. And I got it, as I said, in 04. Yeah. And the limbs are, so back when I shot, I'd like to give a little backstory about the whole Vegas thing in 2020.
Yep.
But back then I shot my Conquest riser, but I had Uka limbs, and it was 69 inches long because it's a 24-inch riser. And long limbs gave me 69 inches. And that's really all I knew. That's what I was shooting. I was comfortable with it. And then I kind of went down the road. I had shoulder surgery in 2020. And so I went and got I wanted a riser that allowed me to use the existing limbs that I had while I rehabbed, and the Gilo GT with that limb pocket that moves so much allowed me to do that. So I shot the GT, and then I ended up trading that to my friend Doug for a bigger GT, a 29-inch, and I went to a medium limb. And then that evolved into trying CDs and wanting to shoot CDs because I love the company. I love the ethics behind it. And I got to meet Calvin and Dwayne when I was in Lancaster, and just their faith as well. And so I said, that's what I'm going to do, is I'm going to get some CDs. And so I traded off my 29-inch GT for a 27-inch CD. And then I bought a 25-inch CD, and I shot them for 2 months, and I had elbow issues because it's a very stiff riser. Yeah. And I shot them well. I was shooting 282, 281, 282. Wow. But I got to where my elbow just had tennis elbow, essentially. And if you've ever had tennis elbow, it doesn't go away immediately, right?
No.
So I identified that it was the for my body, not everybody, but for my body, that was a weakness. And it could be because of injuries as being a cop earlier on or whatever, but so I went back to what I knew that worked for me, and that was my Conquest. Conquest has a gentle limb pocket angle, and so it doesn't have a lot of preload. And then I wanted to shoot 72 inches, and the only way to do that with this bow is to find a set of Hoyt XL limbs.
Yeah.
Or even the Uka XLs. I tried those and I didn't care for them.
Right.
But these XL Velos are actually kind of not a true 72-inch bow on a 25-inch riser. It's a 73-inch bow on a 25-inch riser. So on the 24-inch riser, it made sense. It made for a 72-inch bow. And they're a bamboo carbon limb, and they're my favorites. I really like them. They're not that common to find. Of course, they don't make them anymore. And I think their current axias are either foam or a wood limb, not a bamboo. I really like these bamboo limbs. So that's my setup. I got the Velos. They're 34-pound limbs, but I pull 40 pounds. I have a 31-inch draw.
Really?
I shoot a AAE Free Flight Elite rest. I just threw on this year. Bought it used, as I said, this last year. But I had been using the original Free Flight that I had. I had 3 of them since about 2004. So they were 20-year-old rests. I had worn one out, and I went up to AAE. They said, yeah, just write to us and we'll send you a replacement. And they did. They shipped me a replacement. So I use a biter plunger, but that was as of this past year. I had used the old Spigarelli like she does. I have multiple of those. The click adjustment plunger, I thought that was I made do with what I had in the budget, and I made it work. But I did pick up these other things used. I'm shooting X23s in 2314. It's a 390 spine, and they're 31 inches. So I pull them right back to the back of the riser there.
Wow.
100 grain point. I probably as a combat, if anybody like Winker, he and I had talked about it before. If you got a long draw, you typically have to have a pretty stiff arrow. And the 390 is what I made work. My outdoor arrows are actually 450 spines, but I cut them a little shorter, and I'm able to shoot that. And I use the Yost stab, actually a brass Yost stab that I put another brass piece on the back side of it, so it's a double brass. It's heavier. And I use a big thick piece of elastic on it. You'll see in some of those pictures I have a big band that I use. I think it's holds in my hand better. What else? Weights. Oh, I gotta tell you about this weight. This guy right here is also used, so is this one. But I got that one in 2016 from a young guy in Utah named John Dillinger. That he had a used Gilo G2 riser that he had sold, and I was just getting into shooting the Barebow, and it came with that. It was a black weight back then. And then when he and I saw each other in 2020 at Vegas, I pointed it out to him, and he recognized it. And he told me the backstory that he actually made that at work. And so
really?
it all along. It's 12.6 ounces. I had it Cerakoted when I had this re-Cerakoted, and it's part of my kit.
Yeah, it's a nice looking bow. I mean, honestly, it has smooth lines.
Yeah, ever since they came out in the early 90s, mid to early 90s, I always liked the looks of them.
Hey,
I just,
have you tried those Nika limbs? Have you ever shot those? Is that
yeah.
that?
So last, when I went over to the GT, the 29-inch GT, I bought Nika in mediums.
Yeah.
And they're the N3 limbs. I like them a lot. See, I like the original Uka EX1 Evo 2s.
Right.
It's a terrific limb. I think
Perfect. Yeah.
my humble opinion is probably their best limb. And when they came out with this newer style and they got rid of the Evo EX1 Evo 2s,
Yep.
I didn't care for the feel of the new one. But the Nika felt just like the originals, and I had them both. I compared them. There's weight, except they were 55% carbon content instead of 25% content of the Ukas, and they had a harder finish because that was one of the drawbacks to the Ukas is they have a soft finish to get all marred up. Well, the Nikas required me to shoot a heavier spine because they were faster than.
Really? Really?
I've had 3 or 4 sets of Nikas. I don't anymore. These are my bread and butter. I really like these, but I still got a pair of Ukas up there. Yeah,
I like my Nikas.
Is that right? That's good. Well, I'm glad you guys are shooting so well with the kit that you have. And do you have to do a lot of tuning? It sounds like you're tuning all the time just to try and find something that will work for your 31-inch draw.
well, once I find the tune, I know it. And it's kind of because I've been shooting it for a while. I know what I need,
Yeah.
and I just rinse and repeat.
Reagan, we'll talk a little bit to your Vegas experience. Tell us about how many times you've been to Vegas.
So I've only ever been to Vegas twice, but I grew up. Put my bow down. I grew up watching my dad and my grandpa go to Vegas like every single year, and it's right around my birthday. It's like a week before my birthday. So I grow up, and he would go off to Vegas like a week before my birthday, and I would always be like, "He's leaving me before my birthday. So rude. I want to go with him." Like I'd always want to go to Vegas with him, but
She was a brat.
Yeah, they all are.
I didn't shoot archery enough to go to Vegas and have him actually spend the money on it and everything. So I really got serious about archery and barebow and got to go in 2023. I think was the first year that I got to go with my dad and my grandpa. So that was really cool. Getting to walk around with my dad and my grandpa. And it was finally 3 generations of barebow together at Vegas.
Amazing.
It was really cool. And so this year I knew what to expect. And so it was a lot less of a culture shock. I feel like last year it was a lot of, oh, this is really new and there's so many people and there's so much going on. But this year I knew what to expect. And so I could kind of relax and meet people. And I shot better the second year than I did the first year. And it was a lot of fun.
Shot a lot better. So you weren't a fish out of water. You kind of knew your way around. Did you guys, how was the food? Did you eat good while you were there?
I
Was
always
it
get
okay?
when I travel, so I don't eat a whole lot when I travel, but
I
I had was good.
was on a diet.
Meat.
That Archery World Classic that I was telling you about, I saw that video of me in the Jabba the Hutt shooting my bow, and I said, "That's enough." And so, so it's coming off slowly.
Hey, we're all doing the same thing. I mean, I'm on Lent here started, so I haven't been drinking since I haven't eaten a drop of anything to drink. So I've been trying to be pretty good too, because I got to get on camera all the time, and I just was getting too big. So I feel you, man. I feel you. So you had fun though, right, Reagan? You had a great time. Okay. And there sounds like you made a lot of friends there. Sounds like did you meet this guy? Did you meet Barnaby?
Oh my gosh. Yes, I met Barnaby. The
Barnaby?
first time I went to, I met him, and of course I met him again.
Is he a nice guy? Is he a good dude?
So nice.
Is he really?
Nice, yes.
Really?
I love him. He was a couple bales down for me, but
He's so quiet. He's
Yeah,
so
that's why I thought he's too quiet. I was thinking, I'm looking for people to put on the show, but he's just too quiet. I don't think that he would have a very good personality to.
my wife, my bride, I should say. We've been married 25 years. Kendra, she actually came with us last year and this year. And last year was the first year that she ever went any tournaments with me. She went with me to Lancaster, and then she went with me to Vegas. And Reagan went last year. Kendra didn't shoot. And last year, my youngest son, Jack, he went with us. But this year, he stayed home for school. He's a senior. But my oldest son, Ryan, he went. So it was pretty cool that they all got to see it, especially with, you know, with me winning this year.
Oh
That
my
was
gosh, yes.
it was definitely a family thing, and I'm so happy that you decided to be able to do this for the whole family aspect, because I you know, when they stuck that camera in my face on one of those interviews as soon as I won, I tried to show the emphasis on the family aspect. Is like, okay, we've got multi generations here. This isn't just some place that you go to win money. It very few potentially out of all of those thousands will win money. But you're there for the atmosphere. You're there for the friendship, the camaraderie, building of the memories. So that's one of the great things that I find with Vegas, and it's a place that I'm very familiar with, and I'm comfortable with. Like what she was saying, she's more comfortable this year than the previous year.
Yeah.
So anybody that plans on coming, make sure you come back the following year, because it'll even be better.
It's 10 times better the second year.
Well, talk to me a little bit about the tournament. There might be some people listening right now that are not aware of what actually is the tournament. We've said a couple things. Well, we didn't say champions. We did say flights, but maybe if either one of you can talk us through what is the Vegas shoot and how does that relate to Barebow?
So my understanding is that in 2019 was the first year that the Barebow recurve was actually a category at Vegas. Vegas is a 3-day shoot. You shoot on Friday and Saturday. They're 300 rounds. They're 300 ends, 30 arrows, and you have the choice of shooting either a single spot or the traditional Vegas triangle 3 spot. And only crazy Barebow guys shoot the 3 spot.
I know those guys are nuts, man. Those guys are nuts. Did you shoot the 3 spot? Did you shoot 3 spot? No.
No.
Yeah, no.
Shooter who was shooting a 3 spot. He was good.
So you shoot the first 2 days, and then what they do is, if you're shooting in championship, which came about last year, then they will rank you, so that going into Sunday, you're shooting against like scores on each of the butts, 4 people on the butt. Well, with flights, the way that they do it is there was
70s, something, 80.
381, I think there was in
Okay.
flights, and there's 55 of us in the championship. And for flights, what they do is they'll take the top, say, 32 archers, and that'll be flight 1. And then the next 32 and the next 32 are similar. And so that's your flight. And so you have, they pay out for the top 8 shooters in flights and of each flight. And so she was in the second flight with her scores competing against people within probably 10, 15 points. And then the first flight would have been people that have higher scores, of course, and they're competing. Well, when I shot in 2020, actually 2019, I think John Demmer won, and it was flights. He had shot previously in the championship, but it was Barebow, and that included against compound shooters. And I think that back then that you could also use a 12-inch stabilizer. So that's the group that he had competed in. There was a push, and I hear through the grapevine that he was a big part of this push to get Barebow recurve. And so they adopted World Archery rules instead of the NFAA rules. NFAA rules would allow for a stabilizer and an under the arrow clicker and stuff like that. Well, they adopted the World Archery rules. And so in 2019, he won. In 2020, I decided I needed to go. I wanted to go. And so I went and I shot in flights because there was no championship back then. And I was shooting on a practice bail and saw John Dillinger. And I knew who he was. He had no clue who I was. and he was shooting next to me. I said, "Hey, John, there's a spot down here." So he did, and I introduced myself and saw the weight and everything. And I thankfully was shooting really well in practice and kind of caught his eye. And then from there, talk about the Barebow group and the hospitality and just the quality man that he is. He started introducing me to people in that group. I got to meet Demmer. I got to meet Michael Fisher, Brooks. I got to meet these high quality Barebow archers that I just felt like, okay, I'm just this little kid and I'm got a movie star in front of me, you know, and really, really cool. I shot with John Winker. He was next to me on day 1 and 2, and his wife Leslie, great people. She shot with me, and so they talk about it a little bit on Frank's podcast from that time frame. Mentioned that I got to shoot with him and stuff, so that was kind of cool because I ended up coming in third that year in flights in the first flight. And then the next year, 2021, everything was shut down because of,
COVID,
the Rona. But 2022, it was the last year of there not being a championship. So I shot with some more high quality people. And John wasn't there and Dillinger wasn't shooting, but I think Winker had the shoulder surgery, so he wasn't in his top of his game at that point. But Chris Garcia, outdoor shooting. Yep. He was shooting. Colby Cox. He was there. I forget what his first name was. Last name was Buck. He was shooting really well, and we all ended up on the last day, and I took first in flights then. All of our scores were down compared to, well, I mean, people haven't been shooting much, right?
Haven't been shooting much. I remember that. Yeah, scores were down.
Scores were down. So 270s had been winning, and we won with 260s. But then the next year in 2023, there was a championship, and I had planned on shooting Lancaster, and I really should have only been able to swing one financially, and I said, no, I got to support the whole championship. So I went to Lancaster, and I shot that, and then I went over to Vegas, and I shot that in 2023, and Reagan went that year, so I'm glad I went, and I ended up in 8th that year. I had a very rough first day. I shot a 258 the first day, and then I shot 273s. But it seems like each of the years, my goal is to shoot what my average is, or try to. You always have highs and lows, right? But if you can close to shooting what your average is, you're doing pretty well.
Well, this year you shot a 274. You started off 274, then you hit 283, which is I don't even know how that's possible, and then 275, and those are Vegas scores. Those are not Lancaster scores. Just there's no 11s here.
So the 274 that I shot, if you happen to break it down, it was the first 4 ends were rough for me. I was shooting 25s and 26s, and that's typically not what I shoot. And I had a bail mate that's a friend, Kevin Jensen. And I want to shout out so that people realize the impact that good bail mates are. He and I shot together in Lancaster last year, and then shot together in Vegas. Well, this year we were on the same butt together, and he was encourager, knew I could shoot better, just telling me, just do your process. And I was trying to identify why I was shooting 25, 26, and I did. I figured out that as part of my process, and you can ask me later if you want, but I need to have a little bit of a push towards the target with my bow arm, and then my string blur was creeping in. And because it was creeping into my sight, not staying out where it was, then I was shooting over to the right. So I identified that, and then in my 5th end, I think I shot a 28, and then my second half. So I shot a 131 in the first half. I shot 143 in my second half. It was that big of a difference, and that is what I had been shooting. I had been shooting in the high 270s and 280s, and that would have been that 142, 143 would have been in the low 280s. So that was more on par. And then when I shot the next day, I think I had you can look up the scores, 142 and a 141, or 141 and 142.
Yeah.
And all weekend long, I shot 130. That's it.
Yeah, that for you that must be unusual. For me, that's never happened. So
Wow. A lot of 28s and 29s, which was good for me. So.
I'm having a hard time feeling sorry for you.
Well,
You won the darn tournament, and
I know.
here he's complaining about not shooting 30s.
130.
no, but that just shows the consistency. I wasn't once I shot that 283. It wasn't a lot of swings in my score. It was 28s and 29s, 28s and 29s. And the final day, I think that first half, I could tell you those guys I was shooting with, they pushed.
Yeah.
They really pushed me. They were throwing up some scores, and I remember thinking to myself, "Don't be the old guy on the butt that can't catch his breath," you know. And so my first half was, again, like a 142 or something along those lines, and then I shot a 25, and I think it was the sixth then, and then I got my scores back up, and in the past, when I have shot, I try not to look at the scores because it's sabotaged me. It's torpedoed me. And I don't like that pressure. So I don't want to know anything about scores. Well, I was a scorekeeper.
Oh, shoot.
But I wasn't intentionally looking at what the scores were until the last end. And I realized I think I was up by 9 or 10 points total over the weekend.
Yeah.
I was able to keep pace with these guys because they really were shooting hot. Zach. And I think I just had a mental relaxation more than anything else. I had been pressed, and I just mentally relaxed. I shot a 24. I about gave the whole thing away, and I still ended up winning by 5 points. So
yeah, Zach did a good job on the last day, 279, and then one of the Way brothers, Brian, right?
Yep.
There's two brothers, right? And he shot a 278. They both beat you on Sunday.
Yeah, he was. So had I not shot that 24, if I just, even with the 25 on there, had I not shot that 24, I would have been back up into the 280s. And so that 24 and that 25, between the two of those, was 11 points. Between those two ends, 11 points.
Wow. Doug says he shot a 25 right after Ronnie pointed out he had shot an 8 all day.
In Ronnie's defense, I also left to go to the bathroom, so it's both luck.
Bad luck. You're bad luck.
Yeah, Ronnie's another good friend that was shooting. He shot well too, and I found that out, and I wanted to poke him in the nose.
Oh my gosh! Wait! Great vibes, Ronnie. Thanks very much for sending that through. Hey, who's Jack? Which one's Jack?
My youngest. He's the one that did pictures. That
good job, Jack.
I did an awesome job. He's got a skill with that. So.
Yeah, that's awesome. See if you got any questions in the comments. Let's go to those too, and we'll have a couple of those. But we'll get back to one last question for you before we call it a night. So I want to get some questions from the people in the comments, but I also want to talk. I want you to talk me through your shot process as well, right? And then how you came upon that. So, guys, if there's any comments or any questions, go ahead and for Chip or Reagan, or just for Reagan. I mean, it doesn't matter. Did you get any bounce outs? Because you're on a single target, right? Any bounce outs?
I didn't have a single bounce out. My arrows, I shoot that 2314, which is a robust shaft. It's got a thick wall. I used to shoot 2312s, and I was creasing the arrows and denting, so I had to go away from those. And I blew up a lot of knocks this season, and bushings. Had some Robin Hoods where the bushings saved the entire arrow, but it's all swollen out because of it. So shooting at Vegas, I did not have a single bounce out. I had a lot of crashes of arrows, but I didn't have a single bounce out.
I shot my nock and had a bounce out.
Oh, really? Oh, really? What happens if you get a Robin Hood at Vegas, or you hit the back of an arrow and it just drops to the ground?
So
What is the
if,
rule?
if the arrow glances off and sticks in the target, it's the score of wherever it lands. If it hits directly and drops and bounces out, if there's evidence that it did strike that other arrow, like in my case, it was a bushing that is the knock is gone and it's completely flared, you can tell. Then you get the score of the arrow that is still in the target.
Wow. Okay. That's good. Thank goodness, right? That you get that. I mean, because otherwise, I think that's why some of those guys at Lancaster went to the 3 targets, right?
Yeah.
Do you know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I talked with Raymond, and he shoots the target because of that. He and I had chatted ahead of time before the tournaments and stuff because of my choice of shooting a single spot as opposed to 3 spot. I don't aim as well on a 3 spot, and that's something that in my personal archery journey I need to overcome. If I go to like a 5 spot NFAA target, my scores typically are lower than a single spot, and that's a lot of arrows in a center of 5 spot.
Yeah.
But I mean, on a 5 arrows in a target like that, NFAA target, but I don't have as many bounce outs as I would be losing points if I shot a 5 spot, just because my anxiety goes up. And I don't hold as well. So
yeah, there's always that you're gonna throw one into the ocean, like, and you're just like, if it's not there, you get 0. I was nervous the whole time Raymond was shooting, and then Demmer was shooting, the 3 spots. I was like, please don't have one of those glitches, that Demmer glitch, that he misses way right. I just don't do that, dude. That's crazy. This is so true what Doug is saying here. He avoids damaging arrows by aiming for the far corners of the target. I'm the same way, Doug. I just want to know, I empathize with you. I feel like if I'm going to pay for the whole target, I'm not just going to shoot at the middle. That's like a waste of money, and I'm financially responsible. It sounds like Chip is not, though.
that's why I shoot arrows with thick walls.
All right, let's talk a little bit about your shot process, and we'll finish it up and get some advice from you and how other people can get. So let's talk really briefly about your shot process. Take us through from the time that you get up there and set up. And Reagan, get ready because I'm going to ask you too.
So timing and rhythm is very, very important in my process, and that comes back from my Olympic days when I shot a clicker. Mm-hmm. And so I train a lot on a blank bail, where I will shoot about 3 to 4 yards away, and I will use my 20-yard crawl, and I will shoot one arrow. And then I will aim at that arrow with the subsequent shot, and then I aim at that arrow and aim at that arrow. So each time you're hitting about that far above it, you're not going to break your arrow. Mm-hmm. And my rhythm and my shot, I know what it takes to shoot up close, where I load up my bow, I get my hand right, I do my feet, I shoot a closed stance. And as I lift my bow up, I come to a rest position, I lower my shoulder, and I turn my hip. I close my hip off, trying to get bone on bone. And then I draw linearly, in a linear manner.
Yeah.
And my point is I try to have close to the gold. It typically is probably down in the blue, 6 o'clock blue. Whenever I come back to full anchor, full draw, I use bone structure here against bone structure here, and then bone here against the back of my jaw. Right. And then based off of the size of my hand, my index finger naturally goes in the corner of my mouth. It's just kind of a resting spot. But my actual emphasis is bone on bone. Mm-hmm. As I come onto the target, this is where I go back to my timing. When I shoot blank bail, I'll get into position, get my shoulders in position. I push towards the target initially to make sure I'm getting pressure forward. Mm-hmm. I rotate my scapula around to get back pressure by getting my elbow up and back, and I'm using the lat right here as some tension. Okay. When I get in position, then I start my aiming. While I'm aiming, it's secondary. Yeah, I see it. Okay, I focus on the target. My point is more of a blur, but of course I can see that it's there. And I pull it up from the 6 o'clock into a lollipop, into where I try to touch the point with the bottom of the 9.
Okay.
This is all for indoors. I shoot differently outdoors, but for indoors, this is what I do. As that comes up, I ensure that my string blur is on the riser, just outside of the riser on the right side. That's where
Right
it needs
edge.
to be.
Yep.
It's over there somewhere. As long as it doesn't creep into the shot, then I'm fine. And then I do a final check of push towards the target and I let go. And all that is through timing. And when I'm shooting at the blank bail, it happens very quickly. I think my shot's probably from draw to anchor to shot is probably 3 seconds, 3 or 4 seconds. So it's very fluid to do that. And if I am not on the target, I'll let up. I won't try to force it. Of course, I have tried to force it, and those ones that you kind of put a little English on and it goes up, you're like, oh, that's pretty cool, but it's terrible. It's terrible. Breaking down the shot process. So by shooting at the blank bail and using this, I know what the rhythm is, right? So that when I transfer over to the 20 yards, if I'm off by more than about 1 second to 2 seconds, which is a long time for me, then I'm aiming too much and I'm not concentrating on my process. And so a lot of that is pre-staging with getting my hips in, setting my shoulder as I come up. Then I draw, I get my anchor, rotate my back, make sure the string blur is there, a little bit of a push, and the shot's off. And if that doesn't happen, I let up quite a bit this year. Sometimes it was right at the draw. I started to draw, and my mind was thinking about something else, and I let up.
Good job.
Made sure my grip was good, and I shot. And the day that I shot the 283, I let up a lot. And especially when the scores were, I didn't know what my score was necessarily, but I knew that I was shooting well because I wasn't venturing out of gold very much. And what I try to tell Reagan or my friends that are shooting is that if your shot process, if you're not focusing on your shot process and you're aiming too much, chances are is that your shot process is breaking down because you're now focusing on your aiming. Whereas if you focus on your shot process, incorporate your aiming in there secondary, okay, make sure it's there, verify your shot, you're pushing towards the target or your back is good, and then you release. A lot of times, this is a personal opinion, some people might not agree with me, but if you see somebody's on the target and they get the yips, they're holding, and they get the yips, right?
Yeah.
And they get the yips. I think that is because their timing is off with the way I shoot.
Yeah.
If I'm usually shooting 3.5 seconds, 4 seconds, and I'm now 5 seconds, 6 seconds, my brain is used to that rhythm, and so it wants to let go. But I'm holding that, trying to hold that point on the target because I'm concentrating on my aiming, not on my shot process. So let up, start it all over, get it out of your mind, get back to your shot process, get back to that rhythm. So the rhythm is very, very big in the way I shoot.
Yeah. Reagan, how about you? What's your shot process? Are you going to just repeat everything or?
I mean, not completely everything, but I mean, he's my mentor, so everything I know is from him. So it's very, very, very similar. The only thing I can think of that's really going through my head, there's not a whole lot going through my head when I'm shooting, because if there is a whole lot, then my groups go like this.
Okay.
If I'm just calm and collected, usually I'm dancing. If Mary's there, she's usually dancing with me, but you'll always see me at archery tournaments just dancing because I'm trying not to be super anxious and everything like that. But when I'm shooting, I'm focused mainly on what my form is like, because when I start focusing on where my arrow point is and where the gold is, then it starts to fall apart because I'm not paying attention to my hand. My bow arm is relaxed. If I feel when I start to feel a burning in my elbow when I'm at full draw, because it's the same thing. I have bone on bone the same way that he does it. Our faces are the same, so it works the same. But I'll start to feel it burning in the very tip of my elbow, and I know that when I feel that burn, I'm in proper alignment, and I know it's going to go in X. And so it's just been the process to get the burn in my elbow every single time, because I still don't know sometimes why it's there and why it's not. And so that's what I'm focusing on right now, is trying to figure out, okay, I know it's going to be a good shot when I feel that way, but like, how do I get that every single time now?
Yeah. Yeah. And you did great. So whatever you're doing, just keep that up. I think that it's just a matter of just timing for you, because
Yes.
like I said, in the second flight, and just a great job, just fantastic, just blown away. It's pretty awesome. It is really awesome.
I'm proud of it.
What about, so Reagan, from your perspective, how do we get more women, young women involved, any age women, I don't care, just get more women involved in Barebow?
Honestly, I think there's not a whole lot of people that know about it that are my age. When I talk to people about it, they don't necessarily they think of compounds, or they think of hunting. They don't really think of barebow and target archery and just competitive archery. So I think as far as social media goes, because Gen Z is all on social media, if Gen Z were to, accounts like mine, if I were to promote barebow more, I feel like I would draw in more of a younger crowd, because currently I'm the youngest at my shooting range. I'm the little baby. There's no one my age that shoots barebow there. So I think it would be cool to, when we go to all these tournaments, it's always fun to have all my friends that are, my age, and they shoot barebow too. And then I come back
That's
home and I
fun.
have one. So it would be fun to one day have my own little small army. He has his army now. Now I have to build mine.
That's true. I mean, you shot, let me just remind people, Reagan was shooting in the flights at Vegas, and in the second flight, which is the second, it's a little bit lower score. It's not much lower than the first flight, except for like number 1, number 2, number 3, and the first flights they kind of separated themselves. But a 235, a 233, and a 242, which are incredibly respectable scores. So just congratulations. It's fantastic. What advice would you give new archers, Chip? What do you think?
For barebow,
Yeah. I mean, anyone getting into the sport. I mean, I'm okay with single string, anything traditional. Yeah.
probably the biggest is not to be overbowed. I had some friends that got into it thinking that because they pulled a certain weight on a compound that
Macho.
they should be able to pull 38-pound limbs or 39-pound limbs, and you can pull it, but you can't get into alignment. So first off is don't be overbowed. Seek out a knowledgeable person if they're there. If not, go to the boot camp.
Yeah, go to boot camp. Here, that's a little plug for the boot camp.
Go to boot camp, or go to some place where you can have a mentor. Go to a shoot, and before you buy any gear, and try to seek out. If you see somebody shooting some good scores, make contact with them, get their social media stuff, and start asking questions. I love helping people. When we were at Vegas, I'm thankful that they shot at different times than I did, because I was on one of the days. They were my friends from Idaho, and then of course Reagan and my dad. I was walking so much up and down and tried to encourage them, and it looks like you might be doing this. Keep it in mind, and then go on to the next person. And then some people that have known me through the years or saw me online would chat with me, and open book. I'll help you however I can, or encourage you. And I think by going to tournaments and finding people that have decent scores, become their friend.
Yeah.
You're as much of an encouragement to them as they are to you. You've got some real elite archers that are out there that are approachable. We want to help people out, and we may have struggled with some of the same things that you're going through. We may be able to immediately look at your arrows and see that somebody shooting a 300 spine arrow with 26 pounds is probably not going to be successful. But that's what the shop sold them. So
That's a good point. I just actually gave some advice to someone who reached out to me on Facebook, and they weren't a friend of mine on Facebook, so I didn't see it right away, and you get these weird messages, and sometimes it's advertising and marketing, and this guy he was a military veteran, and he was talking about going through some hard times, and he said that he said that he said that shooting helped him to calm down and de-stress. And I find that all the time to be accurate. I'm fortunate enough. I tell people, and people know who watch the show, that I have a little 20-yard archery dojo down here in my basement that I can get 20 yards in. And I'm right here, over here is my work stuff. And so I'm working, then I can get up and I can go shoot when I'm feeling a little stressed or I need to think about something. So, but anyway, he reached out to me, and of course, like you, like all of us, I think in the archery community, we really want to help out. But he was asking how he could get low cost gear, and I do worry that, they go into shops and someone wants to sell them stuff because it's a shop, right? They want to sell them, but getting on a good used form and getting, like, look at the bow you're shooting. Like, what year did you say that was made, that bow?
probably the riser probably was made 93, 94 time frame, and hers is probably 95, 96.
Yeah. I mean,
They
you're
were
winning.
top of the line back then.
Yeah, and it really does boil down to the archer, right? In the amount of preparation, I guess. And like Fawn said, reach out to people. We're here to help. So yeah, it's great advice. Hey, so Reagan, what's the name of your shop again? And what's the link?
Ray of Light Crafts, and it's REA, like Reagan. Ray of Crafts.
Ray of Crafts.
Ray of Light
Ray
Crafts.
Ray of Light. RAI. Okay. REE.
RE.
I'll put the link up. Okay. I'll put the link up. I'll get it right on the on the Etsy shop. You got a lot of cool stuff there, right?
I do. I have some archery stuff up there too. So I think I have one more release pouch. I was selling them at Vegas, and I almost sold out. I got one more release pouch, and then I have a couple beanies and ear warmers too.
Oh, that's awesome.
Stuff. Yeah.
I'm not a coach. I want to get that out. I am not a coach. I am not a certified coach. I will mentor. I will help people with what my experiences are. There are people that are certified coaches that can probably get them further.
Yep.
But I'll tell you what I see. And one of the things that, as I said, we've grown our local group 8 to 10. We've been all the way up to probably 15, 18, but people move or they drops off or they start hunting with their compound and don't pick it up again or something. But what we've done is, it was important to me to have some extra gear on hand so that was lightweight, so that if somebody wanted to shoot, they had something to try.
Yeah.
And if we've got a group of people out there that have the ability to do so, and you can find something at a good deal on Archery Talk or on Facebook or something like that, like I did. I found some limbs at 30-pound limbs, 28-pound limbs, $60. Buy them.
Yeah.
And find a great deal on a riser. You have an extra riser, buy it. And have some lightweight arrows that are appropriately spined with relatively close, 900, 1,000, 1,100 spine arrows and some 25-pound limbs. And when they're interested, pull a bud up to 4 or 5 yards, 10 yards, and teach them. Teach them how to shoot. Let them get that bug. Let them come back again and again. Become friends with them. So whether it's a young lady or it's a person that's been shooting compound for 30 years and they just have lost that interest and they want to do it, sure, I'll help you, and I'll help you make the choice on what to buy. You don't have to buy points. You've plenty of quality gear out there, and there's nothing wrong with a wood bow if that's the style that you want to shoot, more traditional. As I said, I shot traditional for 25 years. If you want to have a system to where you can hit at 10 yards, at 20 yards, at 30 yards, at 40 yards, at 50 yards, so on and so forth, something that's beyond the instinctive range, we'll help you. We'll help you. We'll help guide you to some of that gear so that, and with the intention that once you get to that person gets to the point where they're now shooting well, hopefully they can transfer that over to the next person. And so we have a loaner bow that we put together with some extra limbs and riser, and I make a string with throw stuff together so that when people are desiring to do this, we have it. We have it. So all those people out there that have more than 2 or 3 people, put something together, because having shooting buddies makes it even more fun.
100%. It's such a great, such a great idea. And I think it's great because that's what I do. I have two bows that are really low poundage. And when my friends say to me, "Hey, you're into this archery thing, what?" And I'll take them out to the range. We got a great range here in DeSoto, Kansas. And I'll just, I've got like 1100 spine arrows, and, it's a really low poundage. And we just stand at the 10-yard butt, and, I put up the big target, a big, target, and they shoot at that and have a wonderful time. They love it. Then I take them out to a 3D course and bring them real close to one of the, deer. And, that's nothing like having someone go from the butts to like these 3D deer and then shoot it and hit it. And they're like, they're just immediately, okay, well, you're an archer for the rest of your life. Because it's just amazing.
I believe in it so much that, I don't have unlimited means, but if people reach out through you and they put a bow together like this, I'll build them a string and send it to them for no cost. I mean, that'll save them $35, right?
That's fantastic.
Just reach out. I mean,
And they're nice strings. Quality strings.
it's to enhance what we do. We want that experience for them to be enjoyable so that they don't give up and get frustrated. And it's like the whole family aspect. It is so close. For her and I to shoot, my dad and I to shoot, the 3 generations, that's rare. That's very, very rare. But to have friends that you shoot with is not rare, but you have to build it. And so that's just part of
it. Yeah. Mike and Karen have been on the show, and I just want to point out that, yeah, they are amazing coaches, and you can reach out to them too. And I don't know what that would cost, but I mean, they're qualified coaches and stuff like that. That's also a great option, reach out to a qualified coach. And maybe and especially if you're very, very serious about what you do. I think, Chip, you might have done it the hard way, right? But you had your dad there. Like, you had that mentor, and there are some people just have no access to archery range, or, they live inner city or something like that. I feel sorry for people who live in their city, but that's the way, they can't go to their backyard and shoot their bow. That hurts my feelings. That hurts my feelings. So anyway, hey, we're getting a little long in the tooth today, but it was been really good. We got a 2-for today, and it's a family show. And I really appreciate both of you being on, talking about your father. I apologize to everyone. I got a little verklempt there. I mean, but I just feel like people who are awesome, just, I don't know. It's something I get a little emotional about it. And it's ever since I was in the military too. I used to be this tough kid. I never, after leaving the military, I just seem to be less. Anyway, it's not about me. It's about you guys. So first of all, thank you very much.
That takes a bigger man to do that than
I can't even right now. But Chip, love you to death, man. Thank you very much for saying you do this, and then giving me the idea to bring Reagan on the show. It was your first thought. It was like, I don't want to do this on my own. I think we should do it as a family. I want to talk about my family. I want to talk about my daughter because she's awesome, and I respect that immensely. So
I appreciate you willing to do that. That's that might be side that we need to explore more. So I appreciate you doing it.
Yeah, we're all about family. Barebow is about family, and we love each other, and we take care of each other. So I really do appreciate you bringing that up and being on. And Reagan, you should be on the show anyway. Like, honestly, on your own. Like, I mean, you did that great. I mean, congratulations. And I'm proud of you. Not your dad, but I'm proud of you. And so I'm sure there's a lot of other people. Thank you very much, everyone, for watching. Don't forget to check out our sponsor, archerypass.com. And, just get out there and shoot and hunt the good stuff, everyone. We'll talk to you soon. See you next time.
Thanks for the invitation.